Unfortunately, when you're trying to scale a high-ticket online coaching fitness business, one thing you have to consider is how many clients you can actually take on. And then that's all about how much time you have. And the goal of this system, which I'm going to show you in this video how to set up, is to basically free you of about 90% of the time that you're currently spending on creating diet plans and fitness like training plans and supplement plans, because this system, which I'm about to show you how to create today, will basically make those three plans just like how you would if you were the one personally making those plans. And the system is very, very simple. Once it's complete, it just will work like when a new client signs, they'll fill out a long form. I normally use this on Typeform, and then that information, when as soon as they hit the submit button, that takes the information to Claude, which will create those plans exactly how you would create them. It's not just normal Claude, but it's actually trained on your philosophy, your beliefs, your advice, and then it will be able to deliver those plans. Or if you have to make a couple revisions, which realistically you probably will have to make a couple revisions, then you're able to just go into a Telegram chat and just chat with that Telegram bot to create those couple revisions directly in the plan itself, so you don't need to go in there and actually change anything yourself. So I'm going to show you how to set up all that today in this video in about 5 simple steps. So I'll get into that right now. So here's how the whole system works in one little picture. So step one, which I'll show you how to do, is the form. I use Typeform for this. You can see I already have a couple Typeform tabs open on the top there, so I'll walk you through that in just a minute. Step two and step three both have to do with Claude, more specifically on Claude Code, where I'm going to show you how to train Claude to make outputs exactly like how you would. And then step number three is going to be actually generating those plans, which I'll give you an overview of exactly how to do. Step four is going to be the output destination. So the most pure output destination that you can use is obviously just like something simple like a Google Sheet, where just like the data just goes straight in there. But also you can use a custom made front end destination, where what that means is like using your own web page, which is very easy to do. You just use Claude Code to make that web page for you, and then just display all the data right there on the web page. And then step number five is going to be the editing / approval on Telegram, where you as the coach can review and edit the plans. And then after I walk you through those 5 steps, I'm also going to walk you through 6 things to be aware of, which is very, very important, because these are going to be mistakes that your Claude Code is going to run into if you're not aware of these things. And then also, how much does it cost? And about how much does it cost, don't worry, it's going to be very cheap, but I'll break it down for you anyway. So first, going straight into the type form. So this is the form that I have here. It's many, many questions. Let's see exactly how many. 60 questions total, including the 60th one is just booking their one-on-one onboarding call. So it's really 59 questions. Where, I mean, also a lot of those are just basic stuff like this, nothing too crazy. But I'll give you an overview of this. You can pause whenever you want, and I'll flip through stuff, but obviously just basic information, male or female, age, height, current weight, body fat, natural or enhanced. I'm not going to read all these because you could read as well, but you could pause this to like get an idea of what type of questions they are, and any athletic or performance goals. And yeah, you could basically like get a sense of what type of questions are in here. Again, you could pause to like see exactly what questions are being asked, even though if some of them are dot dot dot, you can't read the last couple of words, but I bet you can still understand what type of questions are there. Main things that you 100% need as essential fields are going to be age, height, weight, body fat percent, gender, training experience, and if like what they're currently doing, so you can try to make whatever plans you're making for them fit what they're currently doing as much as possible. Injuries, food allergies, and dietary restrictions will obviously be very, very important. Work schedule and sleep schedule is also important in case you're scheduling meals around their life. Current diet is a really important thing to see from them, because that makes it so that if they're already eating something good, then we will keep those good things in their diet plan. Because realistically, like practically thinking, if you're delivering a plan to a client who's already eating a perfect breakfast, and it's just not the same perfect breakfast that you would normally prescribe to people, then it would be much easier for that client to just keep their current breakfast, because their current breakfast is probably based on how much time they have in the morning before work, or their preferences or anything like that, where it's just a much better idea to just keep what they currently have, because we need to be having the mindset when we're creating this that it's something meant to be practical. It's actually going to, these diet plans, training plans, supplement plans are going to be plans that are actually used by real human beings. So we have to be careful about stuff like that. Um, and then also, yeah, just any histories, and then goals and timelines are just kind of helpful things. They're not really essential, but the essential goal that you do need to know, of course, which can also be inferred by body fat percentage normally, is if they're trying to lose weight or trying to gain weight, that will obviously determine how many calories they're eating and what their macros will look like. So you can make that Typeform or on whatever form platform, Google Forms, whatever you want to make it on. You don't need all 59 questions, probably. I think maybe the last 10 or so of those questions are literally just for the coach on the onboarding call with the client. But what I will say is, don't take this video as a step by step process to set this up. I want you to take this video as a overview, like you as the viewer, I want you to take this as an overview of how the system works and how to get it set up. And then I don't want you to be the one setting up. Well, I want you to set up, like personally, set up as little as possible. I want you to be getting your Claude code to be doing as much as possible. If you're not familiar with Claude code, then just search up a tutorial on like just the basics of Claude code, just so you actually know what it is, and then get yourself an IDE like anti-gravity or VS Code. I personally use VS Code. Use Claude Code on there, and then it will be able to actually help you create all of this, because how this all works is just based on files. It's based on Python scripts. It's based on um, honestly, I haven't even read all the files, of course, but it's based on just files that'll be stored on your local device and on the cloud, probably through like means that honestly I'm not even an expert in, because my cloud set it up, and that's how I want you to use this video, just to be 100% clear before I go into like nitty gritty stuff. So I think the best use of you using what I'm explaining in this video is going to be sharing like the transcript of this video after you actually watch the video into a regular Claude chat, not Claude code, just regular Claude chat, and just saying, hey, I want to set this up. Here's a transcript of a guy, or like a video where a guy's like explaining how this all works. Can you help me set this up and like do as much as possible, or get Claude code to do as much as possible? And your Claude chat will be able to help you tell you what to send to Claude code to actually get this all set up. So that's how I recommend you use this video. So that's why I'm gonna preface this part with, as I go into like more nitty gritty stuff. So first of all, why I want to say that is because the way you're going to connect to the Typeform to the Claude is going to be through an API endpoint on Vercel. At least that's how I did it. I'm sure there's different ways you can do it as well, but this is what's going to make it so that you don't need to have your computer on for this thing to work. It's going to also work when your computer is off. Without this, it's going to be fully using your local like actually going to be using your computer as what's keeping it alive. So when you turn off your computer, it's going to be off. When you turn it back on, it's going to be back on. But this is going to be the thing that makes it so it's always on. All right, next one I'm going to show you here might look a little bit confusing, because I mean, yeah, it could be if you're trying to do it yourself. But the best thing about this is obviously you're not going to be doing all this. You're going to be getting Claude code to do all of this. But I'm going to show you how you're going to train it on your philosophy. So what you're going to do is you're going to be telling it to use your specific files that contain your philosophy and your beliefs and your advice that you would give to clients. So what I have here is a folder for one of my clients who's a fitness coach. I set up the system for him, and what I have here is a few pieces of like a few markdown files and a couple JSON files here that I recommend you also screenshot this and give this to the Claude chat, which is going to assist you on building this. But basically, what this is just a few markdown files that have Julian's beliefs. And so, for example, as like the general training philosophy and then it has the female specific version, which has like some has like what things are going to be different for the female and what should be like the default training program for the female versus default training program for the male, supplements philosophy, nutrition philosophy, and then you can see about how long these files are on the right here. I'm not going to walk through everything in here, but you can just kind of get an idea of like what type of thing is in here, and you want to basically have every single thing that like the Claude would possibly need to make plans exactly like you would. So, for example, the training philosophy, I have splits, volume ranges with like sets and reps, injury swaps. So, if someone has this injury, what alternative can we give, and like a warm up protocol. And again, all these things are not things I recommend you write in here. These are things where you should be telling Claude Code, like, I want to create these files for the coaching automation system to work off of. And here's all of my opinions, and like just dump all the stuff into the prompt, and then it can structure the actual markdown files however it sees fit in your code base. So and then also just the nutrition philosophy, like major things in here is like the macro framework, like how to calculate calories based on like their body fat, based on their weight and their goals and everything. And then there's also like the meal timing, which is probably something that you personally have an opinion on if you're a coach. You can have approved foods, you can have banned foods lists in here, also hydration rules. And then in the supplement one, stuff you like how I have it set up here is it's like tier one, tier two, tier three. So it has so like Julian is a coach who recommends a whole lot of different supplements. So tier one is like the things that are essential. This is where you have the creatine and whatever else you would call essential. You could kind of get a glimpse at what Julian would call essential here at the bottom. And then tier two and tier three are just like the more minor ones, where it's just like, oh, if you could afford it, or oh, if you're in this specific use case. And then yeah, you can like specify how you want to frame these in terms of like, do I want to be telling everyone you should use this? Should I be just saying, here's something you should use if you're in this specific case, or however you want to use that. And then there's also gold standard meals, which I have a markdown file of, and this is basically just based on clients that Julian has served, and like he was the one who actually created their plans. That means that these are the gold standard um, meal plans right here. So it knows to like pull from here and like learn from here to like see what is something that Julian himself would actually make. Now, the next important thing for you to know that's part of the plan generation process is while in the engine, what's actually making this work, it's going to have this sequence, and it needs to have this exact sequence of plan generation. It's going to have the training, nutrition, then the supplements. Then the main point of this is so that one can use the last. So when you want to make the training before the nutrition, because the training, like with the when are they training and what exercise are they doing, all that, that's based on their form submission. So the form submission feeds into all of them, of course, but like form submission directly feeds into their training plan. And then their training plan also directly feeds into their nutrition, because in the nutrition plans I make, normally they have like timings on meals. So depending on when they're going to the gym, which is ultimately based on the Typeform, but also based on the training plan, then that will affect their nutrition plan. And then maybe some of their supplements will depend on what they're actually eating. Um, so you want to have it in that order. And then one thing I do is I use USDA to enrich the data. So USDA, I don't know exactly what it stands for, but it's like they have an API key that basically gives access to all of their nutrition databases and everything, where you can enrich the data. Basically, it'll make it like so it's true information, proper macros and all that. And yeah, that's between like the output and the final plan. And then you're gonna use Sonnet. I use Sonnet, or I'll say you, but like I use Sonnet for the heavy lifting. Um, and after Claude writes the nutrition plan, the real macros from the USDA database get plugged in. And then there's like small bits of code which I have in mine, which you'll probably need in yours as well, that basically just correct macros. So, for example, I was seeing that it was generating the daily total macros, and it was also generating the example full day of eating. And then what it would do is the example full day of eating was like different calories than the full, like than the total daily macros. So I had to set it up in a way where it like checks stuff like that and fixes stuff like that to make sure everything is the same. Now, for the output destination, there's a few things which I want to share with you here. So, first, an example Google Sheet of what that might look like if you're just using Google Sheets, and then a custom made front end example that I have made slash am making. Now, for the output destination, I'm going to show you what it would look like if you were to use Google Sheets. And if you were to create your own custom front end, like web app, how that would look, because I'm making my own like full app, but it will look to the same effect of whatever you'd want to make. So first, I'll show what the Telegram looks like, though. I'm sorry, this is a little bit zoomed in, but this is just like an example Telegram message that you'd get from the Telegram bot once the uh, plan is created. So I will get more into that in step 5, how to actually like set up the actual Telegram bot, but like just to show how this what it might look with in terms of output, it would like give you a Google Sheet where you can just access this Google Sheet link, and then you can see like the um, plan here. You can format this however you want. Obviously, this isn't the most pretty looking. It'll look much better if you're creating your own front end or putting it in a platform like Trainerize, like through API. But this is just like to show you basically what it is creating in the form of a Google Sheet. Just the easiest way to just put the data somewhere visual. And you can see supplements and everything. I even have it creating like a workout tracker here, so it just like matches the movement names to the like exercise on the first column here, and then client can just fill in stuff. Then in terms of a custom front end, I'm working on this app called Influcoach, but this is basically just an idea of like what it might look like if you're trying to make a custom front end where you're gonna have training plans, nutrition plans, and everything looking a lot cleaner here. And then obviously this like isn't complete, but this is what you can maybe make yours look like. And then you'll notice I'm not really telling you exactly how to link all these steps, because the thing is, I never linked all these steps when I was building this, and you will not be linking all the steps when you're building this either, because Claude Code can basically just do it all. And all you'll need is giving it whatever things it says it needs from you, whether that's you doing like some quick manual steps on the software side, or giving like an API key, for example. Because like for Google Sheets, you'll need to give it the Google Sheets API from your Google console. But it'll tell you how to do all that stuff. Like I don't even need to tell you, oh, you can get this API key from here and put it in here, stuff like that, because Claude will just be able to walk you through the entire thing if you give it enough context on what you're trying to build, which is why I say just give it the transcript of this YouTube video once you actually understand the process that they'll be taking you through. So step number 5, though, is editing slash approval. Main thing here is going to be the editing. I say slash approval because I also have it set so that if you click the approve button on the Telegram message, it will automatically email and text the plan to the client, which is obviously not something you'll need, though. So I'm not going to show you how to set that up. But how you do set up the Telegram bot is quite simple. You're going to go to the Telegram you're going to search in like the Telegram DMs for the Telegram bot called the Bot Father, and you'll be able to go through a Telegram bot creation process there, which I won't walk you exactly through because, again, I just want you to be learning how to utilize Claude to actually walk you through builds like this. Claude can give you all the exact steps of what you have to do to create that Telegram bot and hook it up to the system to make it so that you get a notification like what I showed you earlier, or if you want to change up how the notification looks, or if you just want to give it the link, anything like that will be incredibly easy to do. I'm tempted to say incredibly easy to program, but really there's like no programming involved here. It's literally just going to be telling Claude, hey, here's what I want to make, and then it can kind of make it for you. Or more specifically, Claude Code can just make that for you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to demo what it looks like to try to edit the plan, and then I'm going to go through 6 things you need to be aware of, which are very important, and how much does this actually cost in terms of the software cost to actually have this running. So I'm going to pull up the Telegram thing again. It's going to be very zoomed in, but if I want to, so again, let's just say I just got the notification. I don't like how the nutrition plan has 2,900 calories. So I'm gonna say it should be 3,300 calories, and maybe it can use a little bit more fat because I think 62 grams of fat is a little low. What I would do is I would simply click the edit nutrition button, and then I'm just going to tell it that the fat is too low and the calories are too low, increase it to 3,300 calories, increase it by adding 400 calories worth of fat in the form of an avocado with dinner. I don't know, I'm not going to make something up, but with whatever else you want to add. And here's just a little snippet of what it'll look like when you want to edit something. So I'm in this group chat here with me, the bot, and Julian is just in here. He saw the new button that was about the new plan that was just created, and then he clicked edit nutrition, and he basically just typed a update that he wanted to make to the plan. So I'm not going to scroll through everything exactly what he said, but he basically just was very specific. Please update the current meal plan to this, and you could tell this was helped by this is generated by his Claude. So he basically just went to a Claude chat and just said, hey, I want to update to this, like write me an optimal prompt to send to the coaching bot. You don't need to actually do anything crazy like that. Like you can literally just type in very simple stuff here. Like you don't need to actually add the macros. It should be able to add the macros if you set everything up correctly. And you're just going to say, yeah, please update the current meal plan to this. You're going to change the breakfast to what he added here is option one or option A and option B. And he just told it what to put in there. And then it just made the changes and sent the new Google. This is one like Google Sheet link. Or if you want to update this somewhere else, it'll just say the changes are made. You can just visit it, whether it's on the front end or Trainerize or whatever, and the updates will be made exactly as he said. Now, here are things you definitely need to know to make this build properly. These are things that are going to be big errors in your build if you are not aware of these. So I have the list over on my left here, which is what I'm just going to be looking over there. First of all, dietary restrictions, because you definitely need to make sure that the Claude will honor the dietary restrictions, where if someone says I can't eat this food, you need to make sure that it will not put that food in the plan. That needs to be something very solid. And then also it might drift in the math when it comes to the macros, where sometimes it will either severely give like the wrong data. So let's say if you said if you told it to put in like 1 scoop of protein powder, maybe that will just default it to 100 grams of protein powder. Obviously, that's not how much a scoop is. A scoop is normally like 30 grams, I think. But if it's not specific with stuff like that, then it will definitely get the wrong macros, which will lead to wrong totals and just a bad plan overall. So you need to make sure that everything is dialed in terms of accuracy. Also, hidden ingredients. So for example, if you are saying if one item is rice cooked with extra virgin olive oil, you need to make sure that that extra virgin olive oil is another item in the meal plan to make sure that if someone does say I can't eat X food, then that X food will definitely not be accidentally in there mixed with another food. Also, there might be some perfect score bugs. So if Claude is scoring its own, it's like scoring its own guesses like better than reality. Where if it's guessing the macros of an item, it might make a very bad guess. You just need to make sure it actually has enough data based on like the USDA API to actually like give it proper data, and then also you need to make sure that it's not just going to be copy pasting the exact same plan every time. You don't want it to hold to your gold standard meals too much to the point where it's just giving everyone the exact same breakfast, the exact same lunch, and maybe a slightly different dinner or slightly different macros just based on their goals. And you need to make sure that everything is actually truly going to be custom exactly how you would make it for someone. So it needs to make sure it's listening to what people are actually saying in the form. And then finally, in terms of cost breakdown, it's really not that much at all. So the biggest plans or the biggest cost will just be how much you're paying for Vercel, how much you're going to be paying for Typeform, and then really the Claude costs are like a few cents, really. 100 plans plus 300 edits per month would realistically be only about $14 in AI costs, and that's definitely going to be worth saving you all of that time. Finally, let's say if you're a fitness coach who wants to set up this stuff to limit how much time you're spending on creating plans like this, then just DM me on Instagram. I'll help you set this up. But I hope this video was very helpful to you. If you want more videos like this with setting up AI systems, or you're a business owner, you're a marketer, you're interested in those kind of topics, then subscribe to this channel. I'll be posting a lot of stuff similar to this in the near future, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.